Welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life.
The wait is over.
Hey guys, welcome back to another channel of One Crazy Familia. Today I'm here with my mom. Say hi.
Hello.
And my dad.
What's up?
Obviously, look at the shirts. And then we're gonna be doing a story time video of how I got pregnant at 14. It's gonna be basically like each side of our stories. So it's gonna be my dad's side, what he thought, my mom's side, what she thought, my side, what I thought, and then yeah, by any means we're not trying to promote teen pregnancy. We're just trying to tell it how it is. Basically, it's not the end of the world if you get pregnant at a young age. Even though it seems like it's the end of the world at the moment, it's not the end of the world. And you'll hear at the end of the video like what I went through, where I'm at now, and everything. One more thing before we get into the video, I want to give a huge shout out to Anicia, Devontae, and their daughter Juliet. It's the Life of Us vlogs. They're a channel here in Fresno too. They're like a family channel, and I just wanted to give them a shout out because I've been watching YouTube for like 3 years, and I've never got inspired. Like, I love YouTube, like I love watching YouTube channels or whatever, but I've never got inspired until I seen their channel. Like, they're like, I don't know, like I relate to her so much. Like, she's from Fresno, I'm from Fresno. She's cute, I'm cute. I'm just kidding. I look like you. She got pregnant at a young age. I got pregnant at a young age. I feel like I don't know her, but I know her. Like, I feel like we're best friends, and like I don't even know her. But yeah, so let's get right into the video. Okay, so basically this is how it all started. I
Was going to the doctor. My daughter had a surgery, so my husband stood home to take care of our newborn that was 3 months. So I took her into the hospital, Valley Children's, for her surgery. So when I get there, they wanted a pregnancy test. So I'm like, okay, you know, that's a normal procedure, whatever, that they go through. So they go in, and then the doctor comes back, and so we're sitting there. And that day, her boyfriend went with us because he wanted to be there since her dad couldn't go because he was home babysitting our newborn. And
wait, I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. Okay, so she's right there. Okay, I already had a feeling that I was kind of pregnant because my periods were abnormal, but I still had a feeling that I was. So that's why my boyfriend was there, because I had a feeling that I was. And I had so much of a feeling that I was even going to get my little sister's pee, so that when they asked for me to pee in a cup, that I would still be able to go through the surgery, because I already knew that they were going to tell my mom like I was pregnant. Like, I don't know, I had a feeling.
I never even knew about that.
Yeah, well, now you know.
So then I take her to the hospital because she's getting a surgery. She has fibroadenomas, and they're growing. So the doctor's going to take them out because they're kind of starting to bother her. So when we get there, so they do the whole pregnancy test, everything. So I'm thinking, okay, this is a normal procedure. So they go back, and you know, we're sitting there waiting. She's in her gown. They're already going to start, like, you know, getting her ready for her surgery. And the doctor comes in, and mind you, I'm scared because, you know, she has all these bumps in her breast. So the doctor comes in, and he tells me, oh, we're not going to be able to do the surgery today. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to be able to do the surgery today? So my heart drops. It was like the worst feeling ever. And because I thought, oh my God, she has cancer, you know? And then so I'm like, why? You know, like, I'm wanting to know. And the doctor says, well, her pregnancy came back positive. And I was like, I don't even know which feeling was worse, that one or the other one, because it was just like they were both the ugly feelings. So then so he was like, her pregnancy came back positive. So then I turned around and I looked at her, and she's like pale, like you could tell she's scared, you know. And then I turn around and I look at her boyfriend, and he's scared too. So I'm like, oh my God. And at that point, I feel like I'm gonna pass out. So I'm like, you know what? Can I just step out of the room? The doctor was like, okay. So they stay in there. I step out of the room because I'm like, I'm not even knowing, like, I'm just going through all kinds of emotions. I'm still, mind you, I'm still going through postpartum. My hormones are all crazy. And so I literally had to step out of that room. I step out, I call my husband, and And I tell him, well, they're not going to be able to do the surgery today. Vanessa's pregnant. And he was like, what do you mean? The nurse is pregnant? And I'm like, Vanessa is pregnant. And then he says, the nurse is pregnant? I mean, I had to say it like 3 times, Vanessa's pregnant. And then he finally, like, he just...
So yeah, my wife calls me, I'm watching the kids, take care of my kids. And she's telling me that the nurse had said that she was pregnant, but what I heard was the nurse is pregnant, so they can't do it. And I'm like, the nurse is pregnant, and she's telling me over and over, no, Vanessa's pregnant. And I'm like, I just couldn't comprehend it wasn't going, I couldn't accept it, I guess. I was like, wait, what do you mean? How's the nurse pregnant? What's that got to do anything with where she's going, her checkup?
But he really didn't hear the nurse is pregnant. He heard Vanessa's pregnant, but he was in shock that he kept hearing the nurse is pregnant.
I literally thought I heard the nurse is pregnant. I didn't even hear Vanessa, the word Vanessa's pregnant. And then finally when it sank in, like, that she's pregnant, I'm like, what? And so, I was like in shock, I disbelieve. I was like, I didn't even know what to say to Patty. And so I was like...
So at that point, I have to go back into the room to go deal with, the rest of my daughter and her being pregnant at 14. So I go back in there and, she's putting her clothes back on because they're sending us off because, they can't do the surgery because she's pregnant. So it was like, man, like the whole time I just felt like I was floating. I don't know. It was just like...
So yeah, we're getting, like, we're going out of the room and my boyfriend's still with us. Mind you, he didn't go with us. He got dropped off and we went to Valley Children's. So it's like 10 minutes or 15 minutes from Fresno. So, and it's like out in the cuts. So like he got dropped off and we're leaving and we're going in the elevator. We're going in the elevator and he's not coming with us. Mom's in the elevator with me already and I'm holding it and he's like right there and I'm like, come in. And then my mom's looking at me like she's about to slap me. She's like, what do you mean, Gail? Tell him to come in. No, he's staying out. Get your ass in the elevator.
He was not going in that car
like,
with us because
if he even got in the elevator with us, he probably would have died that day, to be honest. Yeah, he probably would have. But so I'm getting in there and I feel so bad, like I'm crying because like he like got dropped off, like that's my baby daddy. Yeah, so I'm like, what the heck? Like, who's gonna drop him on me? Who's gonna pick him up?
So then we get in the elevator, and I don't know if she was so scared, like, I don't know what was going through her head or what, but right away she tells me, I don't want it. And I'm like, what do you mean? You don't want it? Like, and then she's like, no, I don't want it. And then I'm like, okay, well, when we get home, you tell your dad that, like, So, and so we get home.
We didn't even go home. We went straight to the clinic. We didn't.
No, we didn't, because you need an appointment for that. What are you talking about? We went
I know,
home.
but we still went to the clinic, and you told me, don't look. Whatever you do, don't look at the people that are by the door. And that's when we made the appointment. That's when we made the appointment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then I called him, and I'm like, well, she's saying she don't want it. He's like, well, then take her to having an abortion. And then so we go, and I'm like, what? Like at this point, I'm like, there's like a million things running through my head. Like I don't even know what I was doing driving her over there. But anyways. So I took her, I made her an appointment. So then, right away they made her an appointment for the next day. So I took her, and when I took her, like she was in there, and like I was just sitting out there waiting for her. And as I'm waiting for her, like I'm scared and I'm just like praying, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just, and I'm sitting there and they come out and she comes out and she was like, they couldn't do it. And I'm like, why not? And the nurse was like, because she kept moving, so we're going to have to schedule her for a 2-day procedure because she was just moving like way too much and they couldn't, So then we went home and I told them, well, they couldn't do it because, she has to go back for a 2-day procedure. She was moving a lot and they just weren't able to do it. So then, and I'm like, and at that point, I think I had already went through the whole shock thing and everything, and I was like, and you know what, and I'm not taking her back. If you want to take her back to have that abortion, then you take her back. So then he was so determined to take that baby out because, you got to remember, that's his daughter, his firstborn daughter, And so he's going through all these emotions too. So then so he was like, well then I'm gonna take her. So then he goes with her, and so he's there, and they're taking forever because it was a 2-day procedure. They put something in you, and then you go back, and during the night you I guess you have like contractions or something, and then you go back the next day and they take the baby out. So then he went, and he was taking kind of long already. So then I was getting kind of worried because I'm like, okay, I don't know what they're doing to her or what, you know. She's my daughter, and I was scared. And so then they come back, and he was mad, and he was like, you know what, they weren't able to do it. She was too far along already. We thought she was only like a month or something, but she was, what was it, she was already 3 months.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 months.
She was already she was already 12 weeks. So so that she was already like 3 months. So they were like, oh, we're not gonna be able to do it. She's gonna have to go for to Long Beach, so to where they where she's, because she was more.
Well, no, they were doing it. They were doing it to me. They had me in the bed, and they were doing everything to me, but I couldn't take the pain. Like, so they told me that I had to go to Long Beach because I think they put you to sleep there or something when they.
No, because you were too far along already. So then at that point, they scheduled her an appointment for Long Beach, and I mean, he was like so determined. He didn't see anything else but to take that baby out. So so he was like, I don't care. And I'm like, you're gonna really do that? He was like, yeah. He's like, I don't care. I'll take vacation off, and I'll drive her out there myself, and you know, this and that. So then, okay, so it got closer and closer. So once it got like a couple days before that surgery, I mean, I had to talk with Vanessa, and I'm like, you know, Vanessa, this is your body. I mean, you know, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. You know, you decide for yourself. It's your body, you know, what you want. If you want the baby, then you have to let your dad know that you want that baby. Like, you know, because if I know your dad, and if you tell him, like, I want the baby, he's going to go with that. But right now, he's so determined to take that baby out because you're going with it too, you know? So then, So then after I talked to her, I talked to him, and I'm like, you know what, it's you know what they're gonna do to her? They're gonna put her on on a table, and they're just gonna pull that baby out, like, you know, they're gonna, you know, his legs,
because basically
his
he's
arms.
already, it's already like a body.
Yeah, she was already 5 months. Yeah. By the time they set up that appointment for Long Beach, she was already like 5 months, getting or close to 5 months.
Yeah.
So then I went in there, and you know, after I talked to her, I talked to him, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you know, and I kind of explained to him, like, I kind of broke it down what they were going to do, how they were going to take that baby out and everything. And he was like, well, if she tells me that she wants it, then, you know. So then she goes in there.
Well, no, and then before that, I remember like, after my mom talking to me, I remember my grandma Shola, she went into the room, and, like, she's all big on, like, oh, heck no, like, she was going crazy at the fact that I was even, like, thinking about it. And, she was like mad at my dad too, at the fact, like, he was like going with it too, but like I was going in with it because I was scared, like it was my dad, and like I don't know. And so she came in the room, and I remember her coming in the room, and she was like, you're not going. And then I'm like, the heck, like she's not asking me, she's telling me, she's like, you're not going. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I don't care if your dad kicks you out, we're moving, we can move together, and I'll buy the baby stuff, and I'll support you, like, you're not going. And then so she was like, so when your dad gets off of work, you go in the room and you tell him. And then so I was like, dang. So I go, my dad gets home from work, and my mom's already in the room, and then he's like in the room, and so I go in there, and I'm like, Dad, like, I'm not gonna go through with it. And he went off.
That's how I felt. I was like, you know, I've seen a lot of teen moms out there that they get pregnant, and you know, statistically, you know, they're not successful in life. Not that they can't be, but you know, your odds are against you. Not one of the best for Vanessa. So I'm, you know, at that time, you know, which I regret thinking like that now that I look back on it. But I was like, she's gonna have an abortion. She's not gonna have the baby. You know, I was basically deciding for her, even though that wasn't right at the time. But as a father, at that time, you know, you're not thinking right. You're just thinking whatever you feel is best for your daughter, you know. And then so I wanted that abortion at the time, you know. I'm glad it didn't work out like that, you know. Maybe there's a reason behind all that it didn't work out. Well, I know there's a reason, you know. I don't even think it, you know. So yeah, I was pressing the issue. I was, you're not gonna. Chances of you graduating from high school are unlikely now. You don't even know the responsibility of being a mother. You're still a teenager. You're 14 years old. I was just throwing everything possible to make her think maybe I should have this abortion.
He was just throwing like every negative thing that you can think of out there, like like you ruined your life. And I'm like, you know what, no, you didn't ruin your life. A baby doesn't ruin anybody's life. I mean, maybe it makes life a little bit harder, but it does not ruin anybody's life. So Vanessa, she's always had this thing towards, like, I mean, not like a grudge or anything, but she's always felt this type of way towards her dad because what he said. We supported her and we still support her. And, and I think that's what every parent should do, because, I mean, when a kid is going through something like this, it's like you can't just leave them out in the cold and not, like, you have to help them out, regardless of what's going on with them. They're still your child and you still have to support them.
So any fathers out there that, your daughter, and you find out she's pregnant, you gotta understand she's going through a lot. You think you're going through a lot? That ain't nothing compared to what your daughter's going through. So at that moment, all you can do is support her for whatever she decides to go. You just gotta have her back 100%. I go, and if the mom and dad have their, her back, her odds are increased even stronger of her succeeding in life. Where if you don't have her back and you're going everything against her, and you just make it that much harder for her to succeed. Exactly what my wife says. It's not the end of the world. At the time, I that's what I thought it was the end of the world. And so, but Vanessa proved me wrong, and I'm glad she did it. And when she told me she wanted to have the baby, I'm gonna have it. You know what? I want to. Okay, you know what? You want it, and we're gonna have your back. Even though she, I really didn't at the time. I didn't want to, but I'm like, we'll have your back. And but I really, honestly, deep down inside, even though we had her back, I really thought that, it was gonna be a big distraction from school, from her homework, from concentrating more on the baby than concentrating on, like, she won't be able to do both at the same time. And so
and like when he was telling me, I remember like when he was telling me that in the room, I remember just like bawling my eyes out. He was like, you're not gonna graduate, you're not gonna be able to go on these family trips with us and this and that. Like, I was like, man. And then so I was like determined.
The reason I said family trips is because in my head I'm thinking she has to watch the baby. It's a newborn. She can't.
He's just saying,
we're always going to family trips.
Yeah.
But she's not even gonna be able to come with us because she's really, in my mind, it's like you just had a baby. All the attention and the care has to be there for that baby. Not that I don't want her to come with us to the.
But at that point, he's just saying anything he can to just change her mind,
So I'm like, oh my God. He's like, you're not gonna graduate, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna graduate. Like, or at that, like when he said that, like, I don't know, it sparked something in my head or something, and I was like, oh, like I'm gonna show him, I'm gonna graduate. So I was going to Sunnyside, and mind you, my mom just had a baby, and she when I was going to Sunnyside, she was watching my son while I was going to school. So she was basically raising like twins.
2 newborns.
Yes.
And a toddler.
Yeah, so it ended up getting, because it was like my freshman year, and it ended up getting like hard for her. So my sophomore year, I had to go on home studies, and I hated it. But I was like, man, like I'm gonna have to go. So I was like, home studies was not for me. I was like, I can't. Like I'm a very social person. So me not being able to get out the house and socialize and have friends, like it was like not for me. So I ended up going to my junior year. I ended up going to Roosevelt because I found out that they had a daycare center. So I was like, what? Like I'm gonna go, because I wanted to graduate from a high school. Like I wanted to walk down like with everybody with my year and everything. So I went to Roosevelt and I took my son, and I went there for my junior and my senior year, and I graduated 2014.
Well, she was also an AVID. Also, that's really important to know.
FHA.
And she was also in you got a what on high school for a probation?
Oh, I got a scholarship.
She got a scholarship
because I'm going into state. That's what I wanted to do. I want to major in crim, so I got a scholarship through the probation department.
Criminology.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so now it's
7 years later from when she had the baby.
Oh yeah.
So my grandson is now 7 years old, and I'm glad he's a part of our lives now. If she can do it, there's a lot of young girls that can do it. I mean, and I'm me as a father speaking to other fathers, just really support your daughter when she's going through something like this. She's gonna need somebody to support her at that moment in time, and the last thing you can is tell her which I kind of did it backwards, telling her all the negative things is but it turned around to be a blessing at the end. It kind of seen the light, like, wow, I was thinking wrong. I wish somebody would have been there to tell me, hey, Jaime, look at the positive things about this,
So for you parents that think it's the end of the world, it might feel like the end of the world. I mean, it's hard, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. Just support your child.
And I'll tell you right now, I'm not condoning that, young girls out there get pregnant or anything like that. I mean, try to prevent that. I mean, it's all about you getting your education, moving on and succeeding in life. The last thing you want to do is get pregnant. So it's not like I'm here saying, I'm not saying I'm happy that she got pregnant at all. I'm not even saying that. But I'm saying what was done was done. So there's nothing I can do to change that. And all I can do now is just support her. So I'm not saying, for the fathers out there, support your daughter. I know I'm not going to say you're going to be jumping up with joy when you find out your daughter's pregnant. Of course not. You're going to be pissed. I mean, you're mad, at everything, and your daughter and whoever was involved in it, and I'm glad to say that my son-in-law, that, because of all this happened, they're still with each other. 7 years, they're still with each other, so that's good.
So, I mean, as a parent, just because your daughter is pregnant at a young age doesn't mean you failed. I mean, because you can do everything. Like, you drop your kid off at school, you pick them up from school, you do everything right. But, sometimes kids are sneaky and they find ways to do what they're going to do. So don't feel like, you went wrong and, you didn't do the right things. You as a parent, you try to do everything you can. So, yeah, so this is our daughter. We love her.
So, yeah, come here. So this is our grandson right here.
This is my bub. Say hi, bub.
Isaac.
Hi.
7 years old.
He looks nothing like me. He looks like his dad.
They don't like his dad.
Yeah. So yeah.
Smart kid, very athletic, and so like I said, it was a blessing in disguise, and I'm just happy that Vanessa was able to pull through, and like I said, she graduated from high school. She's about to graduate from Fresno State University and go back to get her master's on top of that. So, I mean, it's good, I mean, she can do it, you guys can do it. This is a story right here letting you guys know that it's like they said, and we said it over and over, it's not the end of the world. At the time you feel like it is, but
every family can pull through something like this.
Yeah.
If
you guys stick together, you support each other, at the end, you can make things happen,
Literally, like, that's why me and my family are so close. Like, not just like me, like my brothers and sisters, we're all so close. Like, we can't go a day without talking to each other because we're so close. So if you have people like that in your life, they don't even have to be family. As long as they're positive, supportive people, that's all you need. Like, you're gonna get through it no matter what. So yeah, I hope this is a message for all the girls all the young girls, young dads that need support through things like this, that, it's not the end of the world. So, yeah. See you guys in our next video. Bye.